no one better. I'm a rebel. My American audacity has allowed me to move in certain ways, and I just hope that that rubs off and becomes Indian audacity. If you want a woman that's powerful, understand what that means. You have to have all of it. So you can't pick and choose. She can't be the Madonna and the whore, but stop taking women who are incredible and try to put them into a cage. The most fragile thing is a male ego. Dalang gutaka de gutaka tadingina ton Raja Kumari, daughter of the king. How long you think that you could keep up with my tempo? Dance to the rhythm, dance in the Himalaya.
Welcome to the Male Feminist. We have Raja Kumari with us. क्या हाल है आपके? How are you?
Oh, क्या हाल है आपके? Oh, you said it very fast.
Yeah.
मैं ठीक हूँ. आप कैसे हैं?
मैं बढ़िया एकदम.
Okay, good. क्या कमाल है? Is that right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. 3 phases में divided है show. बचपन की बात करते हैं. कैसा था माहौल growing up because you have 2 siblings, right? And brothers. And you're the youngest one.
Yes. I think that's the best position to be as a girl.
Yeah.
Because I think like being like some of my friends that are the older sister, like the first child is a girl, it's like they suffered a lot of like what their parents' expectations were for their son. Like they have that kind of pressure on them. I don't have
so
that.
they would get that.
They would get that pressure. Where I'm the youngest, my brothers have already come, my parents have already raised 2 kids and I'm their golden child. So it was nice. But it makes it that I'm always a baby. Like, they'd never see me as a grown-up. Well, they won't accept me as a grown-up until I get married, because then they can hand the responsibility to the husband, so then they're done with their job.
यार आप सबसे छोटी थी, तो आपसे काम भी करवाए जाते थे क्या घर के? और also because was that like क्या आपका घर divided था in terms of chores? Like the boys will also do equal amount of stuff as the girl?
I think we grew up in a very different way. I think like in India, obviously like there's a lot of like help in the house and like the kids may not do some of the housework. I think I grew up like that. But my brothers were not really expected to do any of the traditional things. Like if they came to the puja, I'd be like, wow, they're here. But I have, I would be there.
You have to be there.
Of course, I have to be there. My mom's friends are coming, so I need to dress a certain way. I have to recite the Lalita Sahasranama very loud and prove to everybody that I know it from heart and make sure that I give the prasadam and I have to make sure I walk like this. Like all those things, I think.
And the boys can waltz in.
They weren't even there.
Oh, they weren't even there.
They don't have to be there. They were probably out
Chilling.
doing their own thing. Yeah.
When did you find this voice that is Raja Kumari? Like, not like the singing voice, the person
rebel?
that you are. Yeah.
14 years old.
14. कैसे हुआ ये? मतलब, do you have an instance or two?
So around 14, I did my third Arangetram in Odissi style, and that was the like last style that I had planned to learn from my guru who did those styles. And I've done 3 Arangetrams. I had, done everything asked of me, memorized every puja, and I think around 14 is when I found my voice and I realized that I really wanted to make music. And that was it. That was the seed of the rebellion. That was the more and more that I watered that seed, the stronger my voice became. Now I think about if I had a 14-year-old child and they were like, I want to be this way, you might be like, I am your mother. Like, you can't, I made you, So I don't like blame them. But I remember my dad being like, I can mold you how I want. And that night I wrote him a letter about how much music was important to me and that I had something I wanted to say. And he never tried that again. He was like, oh, we made this artist. And, my dad was always like, I'm going to let you grow up American, kind of. Like, we didn't have the full American life. But he was like, that part about him being American, that you can imagine whatever you want and do it, and that you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and like nothing is out of your reach, that he did instill.
So kudos to that also.
Yeah, the American dream was instilled.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are 2 things here, okay? The 2 questions. So one, I find it beautiful that you can have a rebellious, great voice, but also be so deeply rooted in knowing your mantras or shlokas or religion or, your studying and whatever you did. Because the world sees a rebel child sans the
sanskari,
which is a weird contrary with you.
Yeah.
You're just like, भाई मैं वो वाला कपड़ा भी पहनेगी, देवी भी लगेगी, मस्त ज्वेलरी भी पहनेगी और मैं अपना rebellious voice भी रखेगी. तुम stereotype जैसी नहीं हो बहन.
I've always found rebellion in women's voices. The first role I ever played is Mahishasura Mardini. The first thing I ever did as a 6-year-old dancer.
Slay.
Slay a demon, cut its head off, you know. It was very difficult to come back from that.
Yeah. How can anyone?
Nobody can. I always tell my parents, I'm like, you started it. You wanted to pray to Devi every day, sing Lalita Sahasranama daily. Obviously, I'm going to turn into Devi, bro. Like,
Were you also the child who was then asking folks out? Like, were you ever initiating first steps because you've become this person? Or were you like...
in dating?
Yeah?
Oh,
in like
no.
school, college?
I
or-
wasn't allowed to date, really. So, like, it was weird because my parents were those classic, like, don't talk to boys, and then 22 hits and they're like, time to get married. And you're like, what?
That escalated fast.
You never even, like, taught me anything. Like, mom, you found mom in like a binder. Like, she answered a newspaper clipping. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to do this. I think I may have been more bold when I was younger, but the world has taught me a few lessons, and I should be more bold now. I'm in like a different type of state where I am.
फिर आपका वो phase आता है जहाँ पर you're writing such strong words and then you're putting them in, like you just slip them in.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot
Mira
of-
is a crazy record
Yes,
like that.
yes.
That's the one that I remember when I wrote that record. I'd finish a song in one day. I'd be like, oh, this is great. But Mira, I remember I spent 3 days in this like expensive studio in Los Angeles where I had just signed my record deal. They were spending crazy money to sit me there. And I spent 3 whole days on the song. Everybody couldn't believe I was still working on this song. And I just knew like there was something so important, and I was listening until the lyrics came. And the night that I finished it, I remember at like 3 a.m, I was just like bawling my eyes out, crying, listening to it because I couldn't believe I had achieved this thing that I wanted to do.
There's a point in life that you've spoken about being there's a lonely South Indian girl in LA as well. Yeah, what phase is this that we're talking about? Like,
Raja Kumari is a character that I created to protect my inner child. Whatever I experienced as a girl, maybe not being liked by the people that are around me, not feeling beautiful because the ideas of beauty at that time were very opposite of me. So I think that's why I really loved the idea of beauty in ancient mythology, because it was exactly what I looked like. Like,
Yeah.
I was curvy, I had big eyes, I stood like in this, in the Tribangi posture.
Yeah.
Like, I understood India's beauty, like I understood how to function in that.
you could relate to that.
I could relate to it, or I was programmed to understand it.
Yeah. I'm truly the male feminist because when I was learning Bharatanatyam, people were like, how can a boy be dancing?
But actually, in Kuchipudi, men did the performance.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, women didn't even get to do the performances. And I was like, that's kind of hater. Like, they get all the jobs, like, also have to do the women roles. You also have to play Satyabhama. Like, you're going to teach me how to be a woman? Okay. So, I'm glad that we get to dance, that we're allowed to be on the stage.
It's lovely. But the industry has also been a very male-dominated industry, wouldn't you say?
So male-dominated. It's so male-dominated that you have to, like, decide what type of woman you want to be. You have to look at the men in the circle, look at who's controlling it, and be like, oh, he gets triggered by a strong woman, and this guy wants to hear this, and this guy would just be happy if you look pretty and just smile at him. And it's stupid. And, like, sometimes you have to, like, there have been situations that maybe would have been better in my career had I been more malleable to the situation. But I am Devi, and I will slay the demons.
You stand your ground.
Yes, I will stand my ground. They shouldn't have taught me that first.
That's why you were such.
Because they were my superheroes. Like, a lot of people grew up with, like, Superman or Batman. And I'm like, Hanuman, bro. Hanuman. Like, there's nobody cooler than Hanuman. And, like, Draupadi is also badass. She's like, bring me his blood so I can wash my hair. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, this American attitude of, nothing is out of reach is also...
American audacity.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call it.
थोड़ा इंडिया में भी आ रहा है कि nothing
It's
is out of
coming.
reach, है ना?
It's coming.
But when you were in the scene, what was that like? Like, how many other women did you see around in...
I mean, I always saw DMC, and I always have like a lot of respect for her, because I think about coming from a South Indian family, like trying to go to a cypher when hip hop, like Gully Boy hasn't happened, so like the parents haven't been convinced that rap is like a real art form.
Career.
Yeah, and I can't even imagine trying to get my crazy Indian parents to agree to let me do that in America. I don't know how she did it here.
Yeah.
Like, they eventually agreed and stuff, but I was already, like, when I was under 18, my mom would come to every session. And then from 18 to 21, I was in college, so I just made music at home. And then when I was 22 and I pursued it, they left me alone then. But that's because I was marriageable age.
Yeah, so then from 22 you got those tana कि भाई कभी शादी करनी है types.
They tried. I mean, I remember there was one time my parents were obsessed with this guy that I went to high school with, and I felt like our parents already started planning what jewelry to exchange, and it kind of sounded like a good idea. I saw the easy life, and then I just realized something. I was like, wow, if I marry this guy, or if because he was nice, whatever. And I was like, oh, if I marry this guy and I do what I'm supposed to do, he's gonna I'm gonna be a kept woman. If I want something, he's gonna give it to me. I know that's a good life, but I'm never gonna pursue my music. I won't have the desire to do it. I won't have a reason to, because there's gonna be no struggle. And I ran from that whole situation.
Wow.
So from that, I think that was the one try my parents had in them, and I ran.
But it takes courage to do that.
American audacity.
Yeah.
They
that's
didn't
where
know.
It came from.
Yeah.
I know it from artists that I've spoken to, that when you're in your full scale,
avatar.
Your avatar, your makeup, your jewelry, your fashion, what is that transformation like, and what is the final look into the mirror talking to?
Oh yeah, everybody knows once the wig goes on, I'm a different person. At 6 years old, I sat for 3.5 hours of makeup. So I'm never gonna go on stage in a t-shirt. It's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna feel like I'm performing. It'll never happen like that. So I think it's really, she's a character. She's my protector. Raja Kumari is a character I created to protect my inner child, to protect Svetha from all the, rejection and sadness and confusion of this world and Kali Yuga, this crazy place. And the second, the hair starts to go, the makeup starts to go on, I just look in that mirror and I'm able to get into that God frequency, because I explain this to people. I think in meditation, you try to reach that frequency where you're on this God frequency. And luckily they taught me how to do it when I was 5. I can just turn into Vishnu, and then I can just turn into Lakshmi. And when I'm doing it, I am her. I learned that as a child. I believe I am those gods, and that makes me understand a God frequency.
So you've spoken about men being scared of female energy, racism in us and the patriarchy in India. It's these two bits.
Yeah.
You faced racism? Huh.
Racism is more in the US, and I would say patriarchy is in India. And it's so accepted that it's oh, no, this is patriarchy. What do you expect? You're a woman. Of course you're going to be paid less. Or of course your billing is going to be third, even though you're bigger than the ones that are billed in front. Your name billing will be lower.
What the fuck?
Yeah, or
You've seen this, experienced it? And how did you come to learn about it?
Because you can tell. If I'm having my moment and I'm this and this and this, I should be billed above. And then, they're just gonna, one thing I say about the industry and about women, and something that really irritates me, and why I am the way I am with women, and why everywhere I go, I just try to pull as many women up as I can, is because there's a table, right? And everybody at the table is making the deals, and they're making their deals in their smoke-filled back rooms, right? That's how it goes down. And they want to give one seat to a girl. And there'll be 100 of you guys, and some of them don't even do anything properly, but they're there because they're man. And I just refuse to believe that there's only one seat. And I know this whole thing, we'll build our own table. It's we pretty much are building our own table at this point. But I just feel this idea that if anybody, I've been in the industry for 6 years now. So if anybody comes up and has a little bit of talent, or a little bit of traction, then it's immediately the new Raja Kumari, replacing her, or we're looking for the next one. And it's why can't India allow a woman to just continue to do her thing? Why does it have to be, someone have to be a new version of you? Or why do you have to fight each other? So that's why Godmother is created as a safe space for women. And my goal with the label, obviously right now I'm working on my own project. You got to put your mask on first before you move forward. And I'm still finding the right artists for it, but I imagine it,
But
first,
you did move to the upper echelon to kind of execute.
Yeah,
Because 50% of the table was not happening.
This table's, honestly, the things I've experienced as a woman in this industry, there are much worse things to experience, and I feel very bad for people that have gone through Me Too situations. I've had things that are close, but no one would dare. That's the thing, I had that power that no one would dare actually.
They were scared.
They were scared of me. I've definitely had collaborations with very, very famous men, and then they weren't released because I should have obliged more to their advances. So like I didn't oblige the advance. I didn't accept the advance.
What the fuck?
And so the song never released.
How many of these exist?
2 at least.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like huge artists.
Oh wow, American, Indian?
American.
Really?
Indians are there, but they're scared of me, so
Yeah. Fuck, man.
it's okay.
That's difficult.
But thank God I wasn't like, I'm thankful that like God gave me the audacity.
Were they upfront with this? Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, what did they say?
No, it was just kind of like, oh, how can I do this without outing who this is? Because it's too much news. In order to be in this video, you need to like get this done for me. But had I just, like when he made the advance, had I just been susceptible, if I'd given into that, then that conversation never would have happened. So it was like people are being paid to do things, they've signed contracts, but they won't show up, and then there's nothing you can do to make them do anything because they're men.
Because that could cause a stir in their ego or whatever.
Of course, the most fragile thing is a male ego, especially in the music industry.
So there's a bunch of lines that my producers kind of, I think, inspired by also a little.
Okay.
So these are, I'm quoting you.
Okay, God.
When I entered the Indian rap scene in 2016, it was rare to see a woman on stage or hear a woman on mic. What's the situation now?
There's so many, thank God. But there's not enough, and I would say that the men are not doing enough to support the women. I feel like there should be like a quota on these festivals, that there needs to be at least 30% females on the lineup. If you put one female on the lineup, it's not enough. And if you're trying to say that there's not enough talent, you're not looking. And that's like laziness. It's just like, it's just easy because the numbers are men and there's so many men that will come, but there are incredible female artists and
100%.
they need to be given platforms. So, I got in trouble before for saying something like this, and I would just say the same thing again, and I would try to explain it a different way, that I encourage the male artists in India, if you really are a supporter of females, if you really want to see more females in the industry, then put them on your lineups.
So there's another one. I was mean to myself and very critical too. Why?
Yeah.
You said that.
I think that's the effect of our conditioning and our programming. I mean, like, especially being in uncharted territory as a female in my 30s that is unmarried and making a business and very public with, my career. I think, like, I would keep wondering, like, why can't I do the things my parents want me to do? Like, why can't I give them a husband? Or, like, why can't I give them children while I'm doing this? Or why can't I be... My mom was 90 pounds when she got married, so somehow in her head, maybe I'm not married because I'm much more than 90 pounds. So, I got very critical on myself, like around 19, which was actually one of the bigger years in my career, where I just... I always saw something wrong with me. I was always comparing myself to others, and it was a very dark place to be inside my mind. Yeah, it took a lot of healing and therapy to come out the other side.
What would be the message to a 16-year-old self, Raja Kumari? That's your camera.
A 16-year-old Raja Kumari.
You can do both.
No, I would say everything you're doing naturally is actually what you need to be doing. Don't listen to anyone. They will just pollute your artistry. You're going to work so hard to try to cover up your features, and when you get older, you're going to find out that everyone wants to look just like you.
What are the things that you think men should stop telling women?
Ooh, I love this. Oh, what should men stop telling women? I mean, like, how to behave, obviously. And then, like, I think they need to get it straight. I think, like, if you want a woman that's powerful, understand what that means. You have to have all of it. So you can't pick and choose. She can't be the Madonna and the whore, and she can't be your mother and your wife, like, at the same time. It's like, choose. If you want someone just like your mother, then it's going to be exactly like that. That's the type of person you're looking for. But stop taking women who are incredible and try to put them into a cage. Like, there's this new breed of women that are going to change the world, and we need them. We need them to be in politics, and we need them to be leaders in our community. And these fuckboys need to stop taking us down.
Who do you think should be on our show next?
Shobita Dulipala.
Yeah?
I love her so much. She's Telugu, my Telugu sister.
Yeah.
She's so pretty.
How do you like being on the Male Feminist?
It's fun to talk shit about boys. I love it. like, but you're being nice about it. You're like accepting all of it. So.
Yeah, because we've been shitty, yaar.
Yeah. Thank you for knowing that.
Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.